All right, ready? I'm Meredith.
I'm Elyse, and this is your 20s. Welcome back to This Is Your 20s. I'm Elyse Naoma.
I am Meredith Breda.
And today it is just us talking. We haven't done one of these in so long.
I know. It's actually really refreshing and exciting and nice and kind of like therapy again because I haven't been in a while. So I've been looking forward to this.
Me too. Just chit-chatting with my best friend.
Let's explain like where we are too, first of all. So we are in a hotel room right now. I'm probably not going to say where because
that's could be creepy.
Could be. It's really nice. And there's a couch, there's a beautiful window and a table. That's all you need.
It's beautiful.
Actually, sleep on this couch. There's no beds or a bathroom at all, actually.
If you saw what we saw,
you'd be like, oh,
beautiful.
Okay, cool.
So why are you posted up in this hotel?
I am posted up in this hotel because I'm actually here for my 9-to-5 corporate life job training. That's due to start. My literal job starts next week, and so I'm here. I've been here since Sunday, and we have a full week of job training for my company, and it's really cool. We get to meet like all the new people that we're going to be working with in our office. I'll be working in Cincinnati, and then there's also a ton of different offices across the U.S. So I've gotten to meet people from like Boston and Alabama and just like Phoenix, all over the place.
That's awesome.
And so it's like 30 something of us all together, basically learning how to do our jobs. So it's been fun. It's been like a full ass 8 to 5 week. You can see I'm wearing a blazer.
Yeah, look at our
and pumps.
Look at our outfit. Our outfit differences right now.
Yeah, and Elyse was like, "Oh, look at you! You're wearing your pumps. I'm wearing my dirty ass raggedy socks." And I was like, "No, don't take them off. This is a physical representation of your 20s in one." In two outfits.
Right.
We got this vibe and we also got this vibe.
So Mara's starting her job, and I actually quit my job on Monday. So very different, but honestly, I'm very, very relieved. If you guys heard a couple episodes back, I started a solar job with Blue Raven Solar. All love to Blue Raven Solar. Let me get that straight. And to my team, they were amazing. I learned so much, but it got to the point where I was like, man, I know that I can make money doing what I want, my passion. And that's what I have wanted this whole time. That's what we wanted this whole time with this podcast. And so we've been making moves, and we're going to tell you about this like big announcement that we have been keeping you guys waiting today in this episode. But honestly, I'm really relieved. I'm so proud of Mara too, because she's starting this new journey, but it's cool. Like it's like unemployment and happy still, because that can exist, and employment and happy still.
Yeah. Well, and I think what's also cool is that, again, not only like literally physically are we representing different spots, and it's symbolism, people, but what I'm trying to say is that she just quit her job to do this, what we're doing full time, and I'm still starting a job, still planning on pursuing the podcast and the new announcement that we will announce in a few minutes. But it just goes to show you can do it either, you know. And I think we preach it all the time. We've talked to people that have, I'm thinking of like the R&B June episode. He has a 9-to-5 job, but he pursues music when he gets home, and before work. And like, you prioritize what you want to prioritize. Mm-hmm. If you have a passion for us, it's this podcast, or you are a creator of some sort, an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean that you can't do more than one thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not like an all or nothing situation, which I think is cool. And it just shows that everyone in their 20s is running in a different direction, at a different pace, running their own race, but ultimately doing what they know is like best for them. Yeah. And there's no one like right way to do it.
Exactly. That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. I honestly, I got back from California in my big trip in 3 weeks, and I kind of knew the whole time what I really wanted, but I was like, no, I can't. Like, I need the money, blah, blah, blah. What if? And I took one appointment on Monday morning, and I was like, no. I'm going to pursue this podcast. We both are, but I'm going to put more time into music now too, because that, as you guys know, if you listen to this podcast, like, I always talk about my music career. And so getting serious with that is going to be a 9 to 5, and it's going to be a grind, and I'm excited.
Right. It's going to be your own version of a 9 to 5.
Right. But I'm so excited.
You know what? I think for you, I've noticed a lot of your big decisions that you make come after you take a trip somewhere. Which I don't think is a bad thing. I think I'm kind of the same way too. Like I just went to New York a few days ago and got back, and I was like, I want to move to New York. Obviously, I can't just fucking do that. It's really expensive. But you know what I mean? It's things like that. Being exposed to the world outside of your bubble can really shift your perspective and help you take a step back and see the bigger picture of your life and be like, no, yeah, that's what I want to do. And it's like you said, you kind of know it in the back of your head all along, but sometimes it just takes that little like nudge to be like, okay, yep, it's made even more clear for me. So
literally,
that's interesting that you say that. That's just funny.
It is
what
true
travel
though.
Does.
It really does. And that's why, I mean, the people I met too, you never know what's going to happen when you travel. That's what I love about it. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what experiences you're truly going to have. And then when you come back from that, you really are a new person. And I feel like this is a new wave since the pandemic started of clarity for me. And I'm just really eager to show you guys my journey with it all, and Mare show her journey with it all. But
yeah, for sure.
But we also are able to do our own paths because of this wonderful, wonderful blessing that's been like dropped in our laps, like essentially.
The only way I can describe it is like, whether you're a God person or a universe person or whatever, just like sent from the heavens.
Literally.
Like, it's insane. And I've explained it to a few very close people in my life, and everyone has said the same thing, and it's been like, what?
Yeah.
And that's exactly how we feel. And so it's not something that you can really like put words to, but we are going to try.
Yes.
Finally. It's been under wraps for a little bit.
I'm gonna let you explain it. I feel like this is you.
So it's kind of a long-winded story. What you need to know before I get into the long part is that we are partnering up to co-own a boutique called Trousseaux. It will be an online boutique that sells jewelry and clothing mainly, with the goal to potentially open up a brick and mortar store. Not sure where yet. Could be anywhere at this point.
Wherever we end up.
Yeah. Wherever life takes us. But so the story behind it is that Elyse and I were Kappa Alpha Theta. That was the sorority that we were part of at DePauw. And through DePauw and through Theta, Elyse's mom went to DePauw back in the day. I did not mean for that to sound
No.
Ooh.
Back in the 80s.
Sorry, Wendy.
Back in the 80s.
Love ya.
Love you, Wendy.
She went to DePauw in the 80s, right? Would it be the
80s.
And so she was in Theta, and her little in Theta, which if you don't know sorority language, it's like the grade below you, basically. Someone you're really close with or want to get really close with. You kind of pair up with them, and it's like a mentor of sorts, I suppose, but really just like a big sister or friend.
Yes. Yeah.
So Wendy's little is named Karen Lang. Karen also did a ton of interior decorating and all of these things for the Theta house at DePauw. So Elyse knows Karen because they're like
I've known
very
her
close,
my whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew Karen in passing because I saw her around the Theta house decorating and doing all this great stuff. And so that's where the connection is. Karen owns Trousseaux. Trousseaux was a boutique that she had in Hinsdale, which is a suburb of Chicago. And she's had it since 2000, correct?
Yeah, 20 years.
Or is it 2001? 19 to 20 years. I think she'll correct me on that if I'm wrong. And so she also owns a company called Hinsdale Lighting. Check them out.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's interior lighting, decoration, design. It's stunning. And she wants to put more of her focus on Hinsdale Lighting, but she didn't want to completely kill off the boutique.
Right. So I literally got a text like a couple months ago now, And it was kind of like, hey, this is going to sound really weird. It was from Karen, and Karen and I never really text, so it was out of the blue. Hey, this is going to sound really weird, but would you want a boutique? And I was like, I looked at the text and I was like, Mayor, what? Yeah. What? And she essentially
scratch, like
whoop.
You're probably wondering how we got here.
And I was like, yeah, let's talk tomorrow, whatever. That sounds like a great opportunity. And then obviously Meredith, we're partners in this. So she was like, I've noticed that you guys have worked so hard on this podcast. You are a driven, hardworking woman. I want to gift this boutique to you guys. It's yours. You can do what you want with it. You can rebrand it. You can merge it with your podcast, which is what we're going to be doing. And it was just like the biggest blessing to ever occur, because not only is it like we can have merch now, we can have our own style to things, but we can also sell really cute things, like really cute jewelry. Mm-hmm. So what we're gonna do, and I'm so excited that we finally get to like tell everyone, because I've told like our close friends and girls who are going to be involved, but we're going to be naming some of like the jewelry pieces with guests based on guests on the show and based on our really close friends. Mm-hmm. So it'll merge like our lives into this boutique with the podcast, all of it. Long-term goal, and I'm going to say it because you need to speak these into existence and not be ashamed of your goals. Long-term goal is to open up a boutique store where we have guests come into the boutique and we record episodes in the boutique. Mm-hmm. So this is our vision board, and we've been kind of scrambling the past couple of weeks because we have no idea how to run a boutique. I've never done that before, but this is your 20s. We're figuring it out.
Exactly. And so the reason you're probably wondering, well, that's a lot to take on, right? It's a huge blessing, but I'm starting a job. Elyse and I have a podcast. It's kind of like, you gonna have time for that? But the thing is, Elyse has known since the beginning of our friendship, and anyone that's also like close in my life knows that it's always been my dream since I was probably a little girl to open up a store of my own, to have my own store. I wouldn't play like kitchen or I'm gonna get married. I used to play like play store. That was like my thing. And I've worked in retail. I love retail. Don't ask me why, because it's not for everyone. But I really like that. That's always been my vision. And I've never been like, I have no idea how to get there. I was a communications major in college. I have no business experience.
Right.
So it was really, truly like a gift from God, because I was like, I wouldn't have really known otherwise how to lay that foundation. And the beauty of this is that Karen and all of her amazing many years of experience and expertise is our mentor in this process. She is still going to be a co-owner, so like she will be our business partner of sorts, consulting with us on pretty much everything that we do, not necessarily creatively, but in terms of like the behind the scenes logistical stuff, which is not the fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're extremely grateful for that. But it's just incredible because Elyse now is just, as she said, kind of freeing up her time to focus on music. Mm-hmm. And so we found a really amazing balance these past few months of, since this boutique has kind of been brought into existence, is I get to have my huge passion of retail and owning a store and branding and all of that stuff. Elyse gets to do her music. The podcast merges those two. Yeah. And everything else that we talk about into like one cohesive thing. Yeah. And that's been kind of hard, that we've had to have a lot of really tough conversations of like, how do we want to get on the same page? Because I'm not as involved in the music stuff as Elyse is. It's mm-hmm. not like what I'm comfortable with. I love it, but it's also not like I
like our guests.
It's and it's not like truthfully like my passion, like I don't think about the music industry when I wake up in the morning. That's what Elyse thinks about. I think about more of like business enterprises and things of that nature. So it's been like a beautiful merging of everything, and it feels so very serendipitous and just crazy. Like it was aligned in some way.
Yes, and we definitely like don't mean to boast or brag, but I will say I'm fucking proud of us. Like, even though this is a blessing, like, when you do good in the world and you truly do what you were meant to do in this life, blessings like this come to you. I truly believe that. Blessings like this fall into your lap because you are in alignment with the universe. You're in alignment with your soul and yourself. And it sounds all hippie shit, but it's true. It's so true.
And it's not necessarily, that's not to say like, oh, we deserve this because we're doing good.
We're high and mighty.
It's not that at all. It's that I think we're finally realizing how to lean into our own individual strengths. And as a result, those kind of natural blessings and alignments have come in a way that I've never experienced in my life before, which is both sad and happy because it kind of makes me realize I probably wasn't before this time living a life aligned with what I wanted to do and be and the feelings that I wanted to feel every day. And now I'm leaning into that, and it's kind of like, damn, how much time did I waste trying to fit into a box that I wasn't meant to fit into? But on the flip side, it's like, well, out with the old and in with the new. Here we are now, and we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And that goes back into everyone's running their own race. Things happen when they're supposed to happen. I'm a firm believer in that, how they're supposed to happen. And it makes sense. Hindsight is 20/20, but I say that as an encouragement wherever you are in your journey with whatever it may be. Keep going because you have no idea what's around the corner. So
facts. Fire. Spit that fire. Yeah, so we're just excited to finally tell you guys. And it's spooky season now, so we're getting ready for Halloween. It's just like a good time of year. I love
the fall.
Yeah, the leaves start changing and
the
then
air
it gets
cooler.
Yes.
Fall fashion is it, man. I love summer, but I'm over the humidity. I'm like ready to step out in a nice pair of riding booties and a sweater, which you may find in our inventory on our boutique if you want to check that out. But we want to also, I think, make it really clear too with the boutique what our mission is, because we're definitely still in the process of like solidifying everything. It's a lot to do in a short amount of time, so it will evolve, I'm sure, as we evolve. But the main thing is that this is about self-love. And that's something we've had conversations with Karen too about, like, what is kind of the universal approach to why we're doing this. And this is to show that, like, here's a place where you can come and buy things. It sounds shallow, but retail therapy. Get things for you or for your loved ones that helped make you feel like a woman, like the woman that you are.
Happy, confident, inspired.
Yes. And so that's why we really want to lean into like naming things after our podcast guests and naming things after the women in our lives that have inspired us, and say, here's a description of this product. We named it this product because it reminds us of this. Who in your life is like that, and who can you buy something like that for or from? It's more than just, we want to make it more than just jewelry or clothing, because at the end of the day, you can buy jewelry and clothing anywhere, but we want you to feel like whatever you're buying comes with a meaning behind it, and you can explain that meaning to someone that you're giving it to, or you can know that meaning as you put it on.
So we wanted to do this episode, obviously, to just chit-chat about our news, but also we want to talk about some spooky stuff, which is the post-grad scaries. So we had a DM from one of our college friends, Brittany, shout out Brittany, a couple days ago, and she was like, hey, this is kind of like weighing on my heart. I think it would be a great episode. Can you do one about post-grad and keeping up with your friends and finding new people in a new city, and just especially during a pandemic, getting through post-grad is tough. Let me tell you.
But getting through post-grad is hard enough. Yeah, throw a pandemic on top of it. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Right, because she mentioned about like moving to a new city and how it's hard to meet friends and stuff. Well, especially now because there's no one really going out or doing much. Your
methods of meeting people are completely different. And also, to go back, like, thank you, Brittany, for like sending us that DM. And that's like, getting DMs like that is like, yes, like this is, we're reaching someone, or this is why we do what we do. If you ever have like something that's weighing on your heart, or something that you think would be beneficial for us to talk about, like, please let us know. We love getting ideas, because yeah, it's just great. It lets us know that you're enjoying what you're hearing and how we can make it better.
Yes, definitely.
But I think the post-grad scaries are like the most real thing I've ever experienced, and that's not to scare anyone, but
2021 grads, watch out.
Yeah, but well, it's just, it's scary. Like I said, it's scary for anyone that graduates, because you go from a situation, if you are living close to people, which most college students are, where you're surrounded by your friends, the ease of access to everything, to you know, resources like academically and extracurricularly, as well as your friends, is like, you don't have to think about that.
Yeah.
You know, if I wanted to go talk to Elyse, I could just walk upstairs and knock on her door, or walk in and lay on her bed, you know? Or if I wanted to see my boyfriend who lived on campus, you know, I would walk over across campus. Like, it's, you don't even think about it. It's so ingrained in everything that you do. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into a situation where you're like, okay, these are my best friends that live all across the country. You know, you say that you're going to keep in touch, but we are all realizing it's much harder to do than people, I think, initially think.
Yeah, it's hard. Guys, it's really hard. Like,
yeah.
It's honestly, I've always heard this like term, like, it's a two-way street, and it is. But it's also like, when you're trying to figure out your life, I mean, like, yes, you need friends and you need that support, but don't be mad at your friends if they're not reaching out. Don't play that game like, oh, they didn't reach out to me. Like,
right,
no.
You have no idea what's going on.
Right, you have no idea really what's going on in their lives right now, even though you might be close and you were super close in college. Like, just be loving towards your friends, no matter what. Like, if you don't talk for years, whatever. Like,
yeah,
shit happens, you know? There shouldn't be any hard feelings because of a miscommunication or lack of communication after graduation.
And also, I feel like, you know, I'm always that friend that's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm such a bad friend, I haven't reached out, blah, 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 or I didn't respond to your last text, I'm this, that, and the other. And it's true. Like, it's not like I'm looking at a text from someone and being like, meh. Like, it's normally like, shit, I forgot to respond because I've been working all day.
I'm so sorry. Like,
it's 9 times out of 10 has nothing to do with the other person and all to do with you. And so there does come a point in time where I think I realized this a lot too, probably like 3 months out of college, that I was like, I'm really lonely. I'm very sad. I'm not doing well.
Help.
How do I fix this? And so much of it is, because I'm always like, well, I'm an introvert, so it's just in my nature. But then having conversations with like Stephanie, where she was saying, well, we all think that we just are a certain type and we can't change. That is not true. You do have to force yourself to develop these habits that may feel uncomfortable or like inconvenient, but in the long term, it's an investment in your own health mentally, and the health of your friends, and the relationships health. And I think the sooner I realize that, the less I look of that as like a chore, and more of like, this is an investment and this is a blessing that I have someone that I can reach out to in this way. It's definitely made the whole thing of like staying on top of that type of contact easier.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I think too, like, I've learned of how to be alone and be okay with being alone. That's something I really struggle with, and it sounds silly, I know, because a lot of people recharge from being alone. Even last night is a good example, because I was home alone working on podcast stuff, and I was like FaceTiming a bunch of people because I just need people to talk to. Like, I just need that energy, that company. And I was like, why can't I just be alone with my thoughts and like just work? It's hard for me. That was always hard for me in school too, like doing homework. I had to like be with a group doing homework, or you know what I mean? So I think it's both ends of the spectrum too. Like, try to challenge yourself to something that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
After
well, that's
post-grad.
so interesting that you have to challenge yourself to be alone. I have to challenge myself to reach out to people.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works, but I have noticed a sense of more well-roundedness from doing that. That doesn't mean that that's still not my nature, because it 100% is. Mm-hmm. But I have realized there are a lot of benefits that I wasn't probably realizing of making sure that I'm in regular contact with people.
Yeah.
That I thought were like more beneficial to me because I'm an introvert, but they weren't. You know what I mean? I was
right.
I think I convinced myself for a long time that everything that I was doing was exactly what I needed to be doing for my mental health. And the sooner I realized that, like, hey, maybe I don't have it all figured out and need to try something new, definitely helped.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to put yourself in that situation.
For sure.
And doing that in a post-grad world is even scarier than doing that just in a day-to-day where you're in a routine, because you don't have that built-in community anymore.
Right.
And you don't have that to kind of like that safety net to fall back on.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's hard.
And I will say, be careful what you do in the mornings. Like, always be checking in on yourself, but how you start your day affects your day so much. And that's something 100%. I need to work on too. And I realized that this morning even, because I'm a very physical person. I love movement, and movement makes me happy. You are the same way.
Yeah.
So in the mornings, stretching, like as simple as like just touching my toes and going up, makes me so happy. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to do stuff like this in my routine, and don't, like, if you put it off or, you know, you forget a day or two, like, don't make it a habit of forgetting doing what you love to do, like certain little things, like even just stretching here and there throughout the day. That helps my muscles, that helps my body, and that's what makes me happy, you know. Right. So
stop looking at it as something that you feel like you have to do, and start looking at it as something that you get to do and that you know will make a difference in your day.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're always gonna like pop up out of bed and be like, let's do it.
Right.
But
which was not today.
No. And it's okay. You don't have to, like, I'm not like that. You don't have to be like, I cannot wait to do this. You're not like a failure if you feel that way. But I do think to some extent, you're not a failure. You're never a failure. But you are maybe not doing yourself a service by continuing to let yourself just be okay with those habits. An example I have was like this week. So I told myself I want to start working out in the mornings before work, because I've heard that that's the most productive time to do that. It energizes you for your day. Mm-hmm. And when you're done with work, you are done. You get to go home. You get to throw in your comfies, pour yourself a glass of wine and watch Netflix if that's what you want to do, because you've already done what you needed to do. And so this week I'm testing it. I was like, I'm going to do it because there's a fitness center in this hotel and we have 8 to 5 days. So I was like, getting up every morning at 5:45, putting my clothes out the night before so I have no excuse not to.
That's dedication, yeah.
And I've done it 3 days in a row.
Nice.
And I will tell you this. I know why people do it. And it doesn't mean that every day I'm going to be able to do it. But Karen told us this too. She was like, just put your feet on the ground. Like, turn off the alarm and put your feet on the ground. Turn on the light next to your bed. It doesn't mean you have to like fucking spring out of bed and be like, I fucking love life. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
No, but put your feet on the ground, get up, move, and just go do it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm done. Like, I came and I feel like after an 8 to 5 day, which everyone knows is extremely just draining from just being in one space for 8 hours is a lot of time. I am surprised and happy to say that, like, I do feel like, okay, like I can keep doing.
That's
like,
awesome.
I got a few more hours left in me to, like, you know, record a podcast, work on the boutique, like have whatever you need to do. And I'm going to have to start doing that because I have a full-time job and now I have this, you know, boutique to run.
Right.
Plus the podcast.
Just
I don't
a few
really
things.
have a fucking excuse, you know. But even if you're not in that situation where you literally have to, I think just baby stepping those habits it's amazing the shift your mind can make and what that can do on your outlook on life.
Yeah, definitely. I think Postgrad Scaries is all about adjustment, because you're literally starting a new chapter in your life. You're literally starting new. Like, I honestly, and I posted this on Instagram with a caption too, like, I really feel like I'm starting my life. And it's, I'm excited, I'm terrified, I'm, all of the above, but it's the little adjustments that you make and the mindfulness around, is this helping me or is this hurting me? And that decision to cut those things that are hurting you out, that will make the difference in the long run,
And everyone's in the same boat, regardless of whether you are post-grad and just starting a new job, for example, or you are a CEO that's been at the top of the business for 25 plus years. I just don't buy it, that the people at the top are just wired that way. I don't buy that. I think to some extent, sure, you have to have certain qualities perhaps to be a leader in that way, but they weren't just, you don't just pop out of the womb like that. You are created and you create yourself. And so I don't buy that you're just either one way or you're not, and if you're not, then fuck, I think everyone to some degree has the ability to be the mentor that they look up to in some way. Maybe you don't know right now how to get there, but hopefully that's why we're here to help you, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I think it would be helpful to talk about like real life applications of like how you do those things. So we talked about, for me, it was my workout routine, but one thing that Brittany mentioned was, especially in this COVID era, trying to find friends in an era where people are cognizant and cautious of meeting new people in person, and maybe there aren't as many just like events to attend and places to network. One suggestion I have is Bumble BFF. I know that sounds insane.
I love Bumble BFF. I have definitely seen that.
Yeah.
It's great.
We are living in that era where that's how we're doing things these days, whether you like it or not. But now more than ever, I think is a good time to start utilizing those things.
Yeah.
And just seeing what happens. It doesn't mean that you like need to find your best friend. If you don't, you're like not good enough for the app or something. But that was a really dumb sentence. Okay, never. Blah, blah, blah.
No, one of my really good friends from high school says that like she's found her really good friends in college now. She's still in school from Bumble BFF.
Yeah.
And it's great. That's a really cool thing. But like there's so many resources out there for you to, be happy. And if friends, Instagram, if new people in a new city make you happy, like use those resources.
Yeah. And I think like we found a lot of Elyse has found a lot of our podcast guests by fucking just DMing them.
Yeah.
Shoot your shot.
Reach out.
That's how people do things these days. And 9 times out of 10, in my experience at least, most people are good, nice people. I highly doubt you're going to get someone that's like, fuck you, you're weird. If you, as from a genuine place, be like, hey, I saw your profile and I think you're beautiful. I love what you stand for, blah, 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 whatever it may be. This may sound weird, but like, do you want to be friends? How many friends did you make in preschool or elementary school or middle school from someone walking up to you and saying, hey, you want to be my friend? Were you ever like, probably not.
True. That's
how Elyse and I became friends.
Literally.
The first day of college, Elyse was like, you want to be my friend?
You want to hang out after class with me?
You want to maybe hang out or something?
And we were like, yeah. It was perfect.
Yeah.
I remember that. I will always remember that little brunch we had. We had these little peanut butter
Nature Valley soft baked cinnamon bars.
There it is.
I love those.
You had the cinnamon, I had the peanut butter, I think, something like that. But we just sat and talked, and it was a moment really I'll never forget, because our energy is just like linked.
Yeah, and if your energy with someone doesn't link, then it doesn't link.
Don't take it personal.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think that people forget, especially with like how divided everyone is these days, what's going on with the pandemic, that like we're human, and that is the initial human need. Everyone has that need as a human, no matter how shy or outgoing you are to some degree, everyone needs other people in their life.
We need each other.
And I think we just have, everyone's resorted to their little like hidey holes in their shells because they're afraid of offending someone, or they're afraid of rejection or failure, or they've been so hardened by life that they're like, I can't do this. It's better to just let life happen to me. Mm-hmm. At some point, it is up to you.
Yeah.
What you decide to do with your life.
Yeah.
Who you decide to surround yourself with, whether or not you decide to reach out to those people, you know?
True. Speaking of people and amazing people, I feel very blessed because like we said, the boutique kind of fell in our laps. Like, people fall into my lap when I need them a lot of times. So. One being the Big Tone episode, which you guys have all heard, I hope, because go check it out. Literally one of my favorite episodes. I listen to it often. But this past weekend, I went to a music festival. So Outer Limits Fest, it was the very first Outer Limits Fest. And the people who are in charge, my close friends, like want to grow it into something like Bonnaroo or something like Electric Forest. So I got to perform. I got to sing at the first festival. And it was like the most love I have felt from strangers in my entire life. I don't know and I've always known that about festivals, like how they're a great experience, blah, blah, blah. But man, were they right. This wasn't even like a real festival yet. And it was like just incredible. I honestly, like, I can't even put to words what those people did for me. But if you're listening from Outer Limits Fest 2020, I love you so much. Thank you for the love you gave and the support they gave to my performance. Like, that really solidified too, like, man, like, I could reach people with music. Yeah. I could help people with music. So, like, one of my Sunday scaries, my post-grad scaries has been doubt of myself and doubt of pursuing music, especially because music is a really fucking hard thing to pursue, especially these days. Anyone can make music. So that was just very reassuring and happened at the right time. I quit my job the day after. You know what I mean? Obviously not just for music, but man,
it made sense.
It made sense. Yeah.
It aligned in a way that made. And what you said about doubt and fear, like, that's it. Like, that's the best way I could put it into one little package. Is it manifests differently for everyone, especially based off of where you're at and like the track of life. But because we are so ingrained to think that life is supposed to go a certain way for us, anytime that it doesn't look like that is like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? Mm-hmm. What am I not doing? Mm-hmm. Why is this happening to me? Yeah. Rather than saying, maybe this is exactly where I'm supposed to be at this moment in time in order to meet this person that's going to lead me to that path, that's going to lead me to that path. Yes! You know, I mean, like, that's the only way that I can describe life. And whether or not you're spiritual and believe that that comes from a higher power, or you believe in energy, or you believe in the law of attraction, like, whatever it is very universally true. Yeah. It really is.
Really is.
It's incredible. Like, whatever you source that to, I mean.
Right. Man.
That's the only way I can describe it, is like, no one knows. I cannot stress this enough. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, nobody. No,
it's funny. I didn't tell you this, but throughout my trip, like, telling people, oh, this is your 20s, blah, blah, blah. Literally everyone said that. Everyone who will joke about it because they're like, this is your 20s. I explain, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, no one really knows what they're doing, so we're here to be your friend, blah, 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 get you through it. And they're like, yeah, I'm 46, I still don't know what I'm doing. And it would be like, yeah, I'm 37, still don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm 28, still don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, come on. It's so evident. Like, we need each other. And that's the beauty of this podcast. Yeah. Hopefully.
And I think, like, people would be like, oh, I'm 37, I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, people think that, like, oh, okay, shut up, Greg. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, all right, funny one you got there. Greg. But it's true. Like, I'm sorry, but the person standing, for example, in my training week, they're really successful at what they do. But that doesn't mean that they're not still going to encounter challenges and fear and doubt and everything along the way the same way I'm going to. I'm just a little earlier on in that experience. And the only way that you grow in your confidence is by doing it.
Yeah.
And by experiencing it. And you're not supposed to know what to do when it comes. You're not supposed to know all of the answers. And that's the point of life. Like, imagine if we all got to a point where we're just like, I know it all now. I'm never changing what I'm doing. My habits will stay the same. My life will stay the same. I would just be like, okay, I'm cool with this being over now. Like, it sounds really morbid, but like, I don't really want to live a life like that. Yeah. Do you? Yeah. You know? I mean, the point of it is it's to learn as you go, to enjoy the ride, and hopefully, you know, none of us are getting out alive, so you might as well. Yeah,
there's beauty in the struggle, y'all. Beauty in the struggle.
Like a lotus flower we bloom.
It's like gorgeous.
I really like the way my arm sits on this couch with my blazer. I feel like
powerful.
I feel like this is a power seat.
We should have sat like this the whole time. Maybe like this.
I just feel like this feels right, you know?
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. This episode was like much needed. I just needed to sit down.
I feel like I just went to therapy.
Yeah.
It's probably the couch.
Yeah, this is a therapy couch for sure.
We should have laid down the whole time.
If you're only listening, go check out your YouTube. I'll just plug it right then and there because our YouTube is where it's at. I'm just going to say that. We put a lot of work into that. Check us out. This is your 20s. There's a lot that pops up when you just search This Is Your 20s. So search like This Is Your 20s Meredith Breda or something like that. And then check out our new website, which is Trousseaux.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, yes. By the time this comes out, it will be launched. It's Trousseaux.com. Let me spell this for you because it's a little fancy. Trousseaux. Okay? It's French, bitches.
Trousseau.
It's French for like little bits, like little things, you know?
Yeah.
It's the little things that counts, people, in life.
Go do some
shopping. So that's kind of the point. Check out Trousseaux. Buy our merch, buy our products, tell your friends. It's meant for anyone and everyone under the sun.
Also, our merch will not be released yet. We're still in the works with that, but our drop will have some really cute fall clothes and some adorable earrings. So check that all out.
Necklaces, and bracelets.
Yeah.
Just in time for the holidays, people.
Get those gifts.
And then also check out our website, thisisyour20s.com. We have everything linked in one place. So we have all of our socials there. We also have our blog, so you can read my blog posts if you want. I'm sorry.
She goes, if you want.
Because I'm having some indigestion right now. We got lots of stuff for you to tap into. So
we're so excited,
tap
in.
Tap,
me.
Oh, wait, we might get like copyrighted for that. That's okay.
That's all right. Yeah. Love you, sweetie. Anyway, thank you for everything. You guys are great. We're so thankful. We actually got a really, really, really sweet DM the other day, and it made my heart melt. So keep sending those DMs.
Yeah, thanks.
Literally, if it's feedback, we'll talk. Like, if it's something you love from an episode, DM us. Like, we love those. They make our day. Yeah. So do that.
Yeah.
And
you never know the kind of, with that being said, if you are searching for community, reach out to people. That's the best way to get community. Because we're perfect examples of being on the other side of a lot of those on the receiving end and loving it, you know? Yeah. So, I like to think a lot of people would feel the same exact way. So,
yay! All right, love you guys.
Love you.
See you next week.
Mwah.